Hi here, and it has been a hot minute since the last time I recorded for this particular game. So, if there are things that I've forgotten about, I'm so sorry. I took a interlude of sorts to work on the KOTOR Let's Play, and this is being recorded in June, so lots going on even right now. But I'm gonna try to get some of this done, fill out that buffer. We'll just we'll see what happens with the recording schedule, and for now, let's get back into your Dry Delight. I think I only have one save file. Well, whatever happens after tonight, I can't say I have any regrets. You're really something, boss. That's for sure. And I like you just the way you are. Hypocrisy, narcolepsy, and all. I wouldn't have it any other way. Oh, sorry. I stumbled into the office bright and early, letting out a long yawn. I haven't pulled an all-nighter like that since my college days, and now I understand why. Slumping into my chair, I glugged down my coffee and tried to slap myself awake. Been there. We've got work to do today, so hopefully Leslie isn't too late. I dropped him off around 4 a.m. at his apartment, but he managed to get more sleep than I did. You know, maybe I should just go bring the whole coffee pot in here. Yes, smart. Just drink directly from the pot. We'll get her done. I've got a feeling I'm gonna need it. I rise unsteadily back to my feet, wandering back to the door in a haze. Just as I reach for the handle... Good morning! Damn it, Lizzie. Ah! Ow, 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 ow! Do you really have to scream in my ears first thing, Richard? I'm happy to see you too, but really? Leslie pinches his ears with a grimace, frowning painfully at me. Or playfully. Oh, you look terrible. Sit down. I brought some donuts. They'll fix you right up. They'll fix you up right quick. Should have done my my speech exercises before recording today, obviously. I let Leslie steer me back to my chair, and he stuffs a donut into my mouth. Kinky. It's good, but I'd trade all the donuts in the world for a few hours of sleep. Nah, sleep is a poor substitute for coffee, in my experience. We sit in an unusual silence for a little while, munching on our breakfast and sipping coffee. Sorry, had to make sure that the darkening was actually intended and not my computer about to die. Normally we'd be chattering about various things right now, but I can't bring myself to look Leslie in the eye. Not after last night. I wonder why. I've never felt so awkward in my life. Are we just gonna pretend it didn't happen, or... Richard, what's the matter? Everything! Leslie calls out to me with a mouthful of donut, gazing at me curiously as he chews. He definitely doesn't seem fazed, that's for sure. You look like a kid who just got caught peeping at up a girl's skirt. Really, what's eating you? I don't like this silence. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. Nothing, it's nothing, boss. Listen, why don't we get started on work? We need to go over the new findings. Uh-huh. He seems pretty suspicious, but eventually nods. I can't tell if he's playing dumb or he really can't remember. You know, it's probably the latter. About Eastman. I think we need more information on everything, including him, before we go to the FBI. If we blow our cover too early, we'll risk losing out on more leads, more potential sources. We should play this smart. Agreed. There's still a lot we don't know. Leslie gazes up thoughtfully at the ceiling, twirling a pen between his sugar-dusted fingers. Is that speakeasy his base of operations? How many warehouses does he have? Are there other key players in his business? I'd say we need to send out some agents to figure out the key details. I don't want to rush into anything. Send out agents. That reminds me. What happened to Earl, the guy I sent to scope out the speakeasy yesterday? I didn't see him come into work today, and he didn't call me like he was supposed to. Earl's dead, man. You're never gonna see him again. Boss, I need to make a call. I sent Earl out last night, but he hasn't come in yet. Oh? Alright, don't let me stop you. I reach for the phone and quickly dial Earl's phone number. Ring. 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 No answer. I have a bad feeling about this. I'd bet anything that his disappearance is related to that speakeasy, Eastman, and the Mafia. Not good, huh? Leslie seems to figure it out pretty quickly because he raises a worried eyebrow at me. I grimly nod. Damn it, I should have just gone there myself last night. If something's happened to Earl, then... We'll get some officers and head over there this evening. Boss. Just a quiet investigation at first. See if we can find out anything about Earl. If there's incriminating evidence, then we'll turn it into a full-blown raid. But hopefully he's just he's just at some cat house this morning, hungover. Cat house. A cat house is slang for a brothel. Figured. Used commonly in the early 20th century. The term cat has been used to describe prostitutes, which is probably where cat house as a euphemism for brothel comes in. Oh, okay. Cool. Learning. Leslie gives me a small, reassuring smile. It makes me feel a little better, even though a nervous pit still shifts in my stomach. Tonight it is, then. Attaboy. Ready to go over some reports? Ready as I'll ever be. The rest of the day sinks into a blur of paperwork and coffee. Leslie and I busy ourselves with our mountain of reports so that there's not much time for the awkward atmosphere to come back. Considering how he's acting, maybe nothing really ever happened at all. Maybe I just dozed off in the hotel room and had a bittersweet dream. Hello? Richard, hello? Two hands... Pardon me. Two hands roughly shake my shoulders. When my eyes struggle to open a few seconds later, I notice how dark the sky outside is. Huh? Wait, was I... There's only one of us who can sleep for half the day, Richard. Don't try to steal my thunder. Why didn't you wake me up sooner? You were clearly exhausted. Those dark circles under your eyes make you look like a raccoon. It's cute. But listen, try to get more sleep at night, okay? I can't rely on a hazy partner to have my back after all. That look of, whose fault do you think this is? Exactly. And whose fault do you think it is that I didn't get any sleep exactly? Mr. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed over there. After we get our things together, Leslie and I prepare to head out to the speakeasy. It's late. It's already late, and there's been no call from Earl, so something's obviously going on. Let me just insert random words into the text, because that's how reading works. Richard, wait. I reach for the door. As I reach for the door, Leslie suddenly grabs my sleeve, tugging me back a little. Oh? About last night. I don't remember it at all, just so you know. I do remember it all, just so you know. Oh, let me just insert negatives into sentences and completely change the meaning. Good times. This bastard! So all of today was just an act? I know, I couldn't pass up the opportunity. Please don't hate me too much. But I just wanted to tell you that... Well, I'm sorry. He bites his lip, averting his gaze guiltily. It's the same look he had last night, right after he kissed me. If you want, we can agree to pretend it never happened. Things can go back to normal. We'll just be regular friends. Senior partner and junior partner. Neither of us will speak of it again, and we can chalk it up to being drunk, to me being drunk. And stupid. Mostly stupid. Leslie loudly clears his throat, fiddling with his tie. Despite his self-effacing joke, I can tell he's being serious about this. Our friendship's more important to both of us, so it's understandable, but... How do I really feel about things? It's not a question of liking Leslie, but last night's situation was, well... I mean, he was very drunk, so it could be seen as me taking advantage of him. Moral code. It's just that you were drunk, boss, so I guess I feel kinda guilty kissing you like that when you probably didn't know what you were doing. Oh, is that the problem? Trust me, I knew exactly what I was doing. I'm completely sober right now, so if you'd like, I could do it again. No, I believe you. Leslie snickers at my hasty response, back to his normal smug self. Yet maybe don't kiss in the office, guys. That could make some bad things for you. But I can tell he's relieved to clear the air between us. I am too. Hey, once we're sure Earl's safe, let's talk about this again. In a more private setting. Does that sound okay? It sounds great, boss. Wait, why is Leslie... Did you just... Before I can finish, Leslie suddenly pulls me into an adoring hug, squeezing so hard I can barely breathe. You can tell I was expecting another word at hug, but we're just hugging, guys. It's still PG. Totally fine. Grown-ass men can hug each other. This is fine. He buries his face against my shoulder, nuzzling against it. Ah, how can you make my heart ache so much? I'll never become a hard-boiled detective if I keep getting feelings like this. But he's cute, though! It's like looking at a bunny rabbit and not having any reaction to it, you heartless monster. Sighing affectionately, I curl my arms around him and squeeze back, enjoying the few moments of warmth we share. Okay. Leslie soon pulls back, taking a deep breath. Then we nod at each other, just like always. If we hurry, we can get to the bottom of this and still have time to get cannoli before the shops close. Richard, you never told me you could read minds. No, Leslie, I think it's just that you're very predictable. I try to stay out of yours, too scared of what I might see. Hehehe, clever boy. We head out side by side, determined but hopeful, the partners we've always been. Aww. I have faith in Leslie, just like he has faith in me. We'll get the job done. Together. Welcome, gentlemen. Please enjoy your night. Oh boy, we're back in the speakeasy. Loud music rushes over me in a wave. The familiar sea of dancers' lights and sparkling glasses. Whew, this place is quite a scene, isn't it? Leslie murmurs at my side as we walk along, glancing around the speak. It's a little less crowded today. They must have known you were coming. Oh, low blow. What does that mean? Did I miss an insult? As we weave our way to the bar, my attention's drawn to a group of familiar figures. Those sketchy guys from the other night, but it looks like there are more of them today. I nudge Leslie's side and jerk my chin in their direction. I'm sorry for all the noises, guys. I might cut them out. I might leave them in. We'll see. We'll see what happens. He follows my subtle gesture, eyes narrowing faintly. We exchange no words, but I can tell we're thinking the same thing. Those are Mayer's men. Is it Mayer or Meyer? I am legitimately uncertain of how that name is supposed to be pronounced. Like, Mayer sounds phonetically right to me, but also Meyer is a name I know. I don't know. At the bar, Leslie orders a couple of drinks, just to keep up appearances. We've got to find some way to ask about Earl, but we can't risk being too obvious about it. Jack! You finally decided to show up, Oh, the other man. When a certain voice calls out over the music, I freeze. If that's who I think it is, then... Oh, hello. I was terribly disappointed last night, Jack. The expensive bottle of honey slivovitz. Russian is hard for me, alright? Is that Russian? Uncertain. If you know, please tell me. I got you was my sole conversation partner. Slavovitz. Too many consonants altogether. Is a plum brandy produced in Eastern Europe. So it's probably Russian. It was distilled in large amount by Jewish communities in Poland before... Well, it could be Polish. It's one of the Slavic languages, at least. It was distilled in a large amount by Jewish communities in Poland before World War II. While often very strong and bitter in its normal form, it is sometimes combined with honey to make it sweeter and less pungent. Pungent. I know words. Sure enough, Mayer saunters up with his usual sly grin, leaning on one arm against the bar. Oh? I see you brought a friend. Mayer turns his attention to Leslie, studying him for a few moments before offering a polite nod. I feel like a third wheel all of a sudden. Leslie does the same, sizing the other man up silently. Oh god. But quickly breaks into a smile of his own. You must be Mayer! Jack was just singing your praises, and you know, I can really see why. Smooth Leslie. Singing my praises, was he? My gaze meets Mayer, and he suggestively winks. God. Great, Leslie, thanks for encouraging him. And whom might I have the pleasure of meeting tonight? Leslie's the name. How do you do? Wait, he's giving Mayer his real name? Is he planning something? They reach around me to shake hands, each still wearing a confident smirk. How do you do? Would I be correct in assuming you're a public servant like Jack here, Mr. Leslie? Sorry, losing my voice a little bit. Had tea earlier, but I drank it really quickly. You would be very correct. We met through work, actually. I see. Very interesting. There's something uncomfortable about this atmosphere. What exactly is going on? Two lions are sizing themselves up, seeing which one gets the, the guy in this case. And you, Mayor? Who do you, what, and you, Mayor? What do you do for work? Curious you should mention that. I consider myself a public servant as well. Oh my, what coincidence. I had a feeling, really. The second I saw you, I thought to myself, here's a charitable man, alright. I knew it. You may not believe this, but I had the same reaction. What's going on? That noble air you have, why, it speaks volumes about you. You strike me as the sort of dutiful fellow, and I respect that. Richard's like, what the fuck is going on? No, something's definitely wrong here. Yes. There's no way either of them is being serious. In fact, it almost sounds like... Actually, Mayor, I have a question for you. Pausing for a moment, Leslie glances up at the clock. It's only a quick look, but it seems deliberate. Of course. Please, go on. You didn't happen to see a man around here the other night. Dark, shaggy hair, pointy nose, brown eyes, walks with a slight limp. Mayor brushes a hand through his hair, eyes slyly drifting to one side. It's very possible. That description sounds quite familiar. But you know, Mr. Leslie, information often comes with a price. At that instant... Ah! It's the cops! The speakeasy door flies open and a small group of officers rush in. Screams echo through the parlor after the music cuts off, but the cacophony quickly goes silent. As the officers pull out their guns, the mafia types grab their own pieces, pointing them back at the officers. Leslie, what? Richard, please. Leslie sharply raises a hand at me, and I fall quiet, stunned. This wasn't the plan we discussed. I thought we were supposed to wait for more information. Unless Leslie did this because he thought I'd be too soft on Mayor. I suggest you cooperate with us, Eastman, and give us the agent's location. Mayor doesn't seem nearly as shocked as he should be. How can he be so calm? He had no idea this was going to happen. Did he? Alright, I'll cooperate with you. But please, tell your men to lower their weapons. I'll do the same for mine, and then we can discuss things calmly, without threat of accidental bloodshed. Agreed. Leslie hesitates. There's a very strange degree of trust going on here, but I get the sense that neither of them wants it to end in violence. I know Leslie hates hurting anyone, even criminals, and Mayor doesn't seem the type to enjoy it either. Understood. Both of them exchange looks and simultaneously nod at their men, who slowly, reluctantly, lower their guns. The tension in the room eases a little bit, though it's still far from calm. Let me preface by saying, your man is safe. He's being held in the back room, properly fed and watered. In fact, he's already gotten to know most of the men. A very likable fellow. That does sound like Earl. The guy can get along with just about anyone. I have so much respect for this man. I have never even seen him. Why did you capture him, then? To use him as bait, naturally. Bait? Mayor nods, giving me a slightly apologetic smile, although he looks too pleased with himself about it all. You see, after our friend Jack here showed up the other night, I was struck with an idea. I knew he was a detective before he so much as walked in the door. Your informant's working for me, so I decided to have a chat with him. You mean, back there, that was... Don't get me wrong, Richard. I was enjoying every second of it. But I've been looking for a way to work out an arrangement with the law in Cleveland for some time. You're a hard-headed sort here, let me tell you. He exhales a breath between his teeth, gently shaking his head. I did not bring nearly enough tea. Richer, however, I could tell he was made of something different. Not so hell-bent on enforcing the Volstead Act, yet not just the type to be bought either. I was intrigued. So I thought I'd try to work out a deal, until he cruelly decided to leave me hanging, that is. Giving him my name was what you might call a backup plan. I knew he'd put it together soon enough, and come back when he did. Capturing your agent now, that was a little more spontaneous. A little foolish, too, and more than likely, but it's how I operate. Sorry, guys. My voice is suffering today. His lips curl in a devil-may-care smirk, and he shrugs nonchalantly. You really had this all planned from the beginning. Wasn't it a huge risk? Of course, but a calculated one. Mayor casually waves one hand, as if brushing away my disbelief. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I like to make big gambles, and most of the time they pay off. But I've done my research on your backgrounds, your past jobs. I knew you wouldn't simply raid my venue without showing a little of your hand first. So you could say the chips I landed where I thought I forgot how hard visual novels are to record. So you could say the chips landed where I thought they might. It's suddenly all too clear how this man became a mafia leader. He's got the right mixture of planning, risk-taking, and charm, all wrapped up in one dangerous package. Phew. I feel like a man who just got cheated out of his fortune at cards. Leslie rubs his cheek with a hand, blinking rapidly as if to try to understand everything we just heard. I can't blame him. I knew Mayor was sharp, but I had no idea he'd planned everything out ahead of time. I'll admit, despite the fact that your methods are incredibly questionable, you made me curious. You mentioned a deal, didn't you? What kind of deal are we talking about here? Leslie! To my surprise, Leslie cautiously questions Mayor, one eyebrow slightly raised. I was expecting him to be furious, but instead he sounds more impressed than anything. I was hoping you'd ask that. Why don't we discuss matters privately, on neutral ground? I'll even let you pick the spot, all of us disarmed, with a few of our men waiting outside. A moment, if you don't mind. Leslie grabs my sleeve and pulls me aside a little, leaning up to whisper in my ear. You really trust him enough for this? Normally I'd say it's suicide, but this mayor, he's not like any other man I've ever met. It's like talking to the chief, Lord. The chief of a big corporation, not a mafia leader. He scratches his head, clearly baffled. It's not like I can blame him. I felt the same way when I first met Mayor the other night. I don't think he means us any harm, boss. He's still a gangster, obviously, but I think he really wants to work out a deal. All of this would be way too much trouble otherwise. And honestly, I'd like to hear what he has to say. My thoughts exactly. You think we should hear him out then? After a brief moment of hesitation, I nod. We're playing with fire here, and we both know it, but it's nothing new for us. If you don't mind me saying, Mr. Leslie, I gather you're the type to take precautions. Mayor pipes up airily, and we both glance over towards him. Should the two of you not show up in perfect health tomorrow, I'm certain I'll have a big hassle on my hands. And that's not what I want, I assure you. You really did do your research, didn't you? It's a favorite hobby of mine. Me too, dude. So that means you know what size underwear Richard wears. Boss! I'm afraid you'll have to barter for that information. Oh, you drive a hard bargain, do you? I like that. Are they flirting? Because I'm on board if they are, but I feel like my only ally just switched his colors. Yeah. Leslie has a type, and his type is richer. Great, just great. After a little more discussion, the three of us settle on a hotel room for our meeting spot. Unfortunate patrons who had to witness all that, well, they're sent home and promised free drinks when they come back. In this day and age, that's probably enough to risk being shot. How badly do you want to get drunk? Lord. Once this mess is sorted out, the three of us heads to the hotel with our respective men. I can't even begin to imagine how tonight will end, but I have to hope for the best. Oh, interesting. Okay, richer. Please be careful. Watch yourself, stay alert, and don't do anything I wouldn't do. Like what, skipping out on the job to get cannoli? I'm serious, Richard. You're my partner, and I don't want you to be turned into Swiss cheese by a Tommy gun or something. He would use a food metaphor. So promise me you'll be careful, alright? I worry about you, whenever you're off solo. Don't worry, I've got this. I feel like a kid trying to get permission to leave home. He does know that I've done other undercover missions, right? No need to worry about me, boss. This may come as a surprise, but I can tie my own shoes, too. Oh, so you've been letting me tie them so I wouldn't get my feelings hurt? Richard, I'm touched. He flashes me a playful grin, although it doesn't do much to mask the concern still in his voice. I know him well enough by now to see through his masks, for better or worse. Unless there's anything else important, boss, I'm going to head out. Alright. Leslie pushes himself up from his chair, stepping over to get the door for me. I expect great things from your report tomorrow. With any luck, we'll be well on our way to making Cleveland a boring old town drier than the Sahara Desert. Doesn't sound quite so encouraging when I put it that way, does it? Can't argue there. God bless America, land of the liquor free. See you in the morning, boss. Give him hell, detective. He reaches out to ruffle my hair fondly, as he often does. I stopped brushing it down for a while ago. Leslie always likes to mess it up first thing, anyway. We trade wry smiles, and with that, I head out into the cool night air. Next stop, Richard's first speakeasy. Woo! Guy said his name was Mayer, for starters. He was well dressed, a little too confident, and... Should I tell Leslie about the flirting? I mean, he doesn't really need to know, and I'd sort of like to enjoy the memory without being scolded, but... And he seemed important. I think he's important. Maybe a spy, maybe an assassin, not sure. Important. Why do you think he was talking to you? Beats me. Maybe he just wanted a drinking partner. Leslie drums his fingers on his desk, frowning thoughtfully. He didn't see through your cover? Sure didn't like it if he did. And I'm still alive, right? Fair point. Maybe your lying skills really have improved. His chair squeaks as he leans back, propping his feet up on the desk. And I just cleaned the mud off it yesterday, too. So he's important. Maybe part of the Mafia. But he didn't bump you off. What do you plan to do about him? I was getting to that. Oh, I'm listening. He gestures for me to continue. Mayor offered me a deal for information. A deal? You're serious? I nod, barely resisting the urge to rub my forehead. Details on the mob in exchange for... This is so ridiculous, I can barely say it out loud. In exchange for a cake. Oh, come off it, Richard. Tell me what he actually wanted. I know you're trying to get revenge for me teasing you, but... I'm being serious, boss. He wanted a cake. Pointing at the paper bag that holds Leslie's half-eaten breakfast, I put on the straightest face I can manage. It's from the neighborhood around Little Italy, right? Obviously that place is owned by the Italian gang, so he can't get too close. But as for why he wants one... I've got no clue, boss. Maybe a kid at home who likes them, sweet tooth, forbidden fruit. It reeks of a setup, Richard. Isn't that obvious? Leslie wrinkles his nose. About the reaction I'd expected, and really not an unfair one. I thought about that, believe me. But if it was a setup, why would it even bite me back? Wouldn't it have been easier to get rid of me right there? And he could have made his offer sound more serious, too. Anyone with half a brain would be suspicious. That's true, I suppose. I still don't like it, though. Not one bit. He let out a heavy sigh, sticking a hand into the bag with his cake and tearing off a tiny piece to idly munch on. Well, while you were having the time of your life last night, I was chatting with Mr. FBI. Apparently one of the city's politicians is hosting a big party at a hotel tonight. Thanks to our contact, I've got us passes inside. Because you know what's going on to be at that party, my dear Richard. A lot of liquor. A hell of a lot of liquor. Probably provided by the main source in Cleveland. Leslie and I exchanged knowing looks. I can already see what he's getting at. So you want to scope it out for the information. It's a good bet, and a safe one. Once folks get drunk, there's no telling what kind of juicy information we'll get out of them. If we're lucky, some of it might even be related to our case. I wouldn't count on it. We snicker. In our line of work, both of us have seen our fair share of these ritzy orgies. I think you should come to the party with me tonight. With your smarts and my good looks, we're bound to find something out. And if you want my honest opinion... Leslie goes thoughtfully silent for a moment, then a more serious look darkens his brow. I think this rendezvous at the Speak is too risky. Even a Meyer doesn't mean you any harm. Any other mob types around there might not feel the same way. But I also don't think you're green enough to walk into a death trap. Gee, thanks, boss. When I roll my eyes, Leslie offers me a soft, affectionate smile, the kind he only puts on once in a blue moon. I'm heading to the party either way, but I trust your judgment, Richard. You can decide for yourself where to go tonight. What'll it be? As much as I hate to disappoint Leslie, my instincts are telling me the speakeasy's worth the gamble. It's a risk, no doubt about it, but one I feel I have to take. Shifting out of my chair, I approach Leslie's desk and lean over it, giving him a firm look to show my conviction. Sorry, boss. I'm gonna try my luck with Mayor. There's a lead there. I just know it. Like I expected, Leslie doesn't look too thrilled by my choice. But, true to his word, he soon lets out a good-natured sigh. Heartlessly leaving your partner in the dust. So this is what it's come to, eh? Fine. I'll just enjoy the free party food by myself. Not even going to bring me back a sandwich? Ask your new friend for one. Leslie huffs, and I snicker at his playful sulkiness, although I have to wonder if a little bit of it isn't genuine. Alright. But if you go, promise me you'll station a few officers near the speakeasy, just in case something goes wrong. You never know when trouble might pop up. Yeah, that's fair. I'll make the calls this morning. Good boy. Sorry, losing voice. Then I won't I'll worry less about you. He reaches out to ruffle my hair. Luckily, it was already messy, so it can't inflict much more damage. Now, let's cannonball into that stack of paperwork. Been looking forward to it all morning. We spend the rest of the day going through reports, most of them related to Italian gang activity on the east side. It doesn't exactly put me at ease for when I leave the office, heading towards Little Italy to pick up Mayor's cake. I keep picturing his face, and my mind wanders to how he might react when I hand this to him. Will it really make him happy? Aside from those distracting thoughts, though, my bakery trip is an uneventful one. Prized cargo in hand, I end up at the speakeasy just as the night's settling in. Welcome, sir. Please enjoy your night. The doorman gives his customary greeting, and I casually nod while stepping past. Here I am, a desk detective on a risky job, shuffling into his speakeasy with a cake and a paper bag like some kid holding onto his school lunch. Not my finest moment. The place is packed full, just like last night, which means I can't really pick Meyer out easily. I guess if I hang around the bar long enough, maybe he'll show up. Oh, it's Mr. Jack. A coarse voice, different from Meyer's, growls out behind me. I turn to see one of the rough-looking men I noticed last night, staring at me suspiciously. I'm gonna pat you down, make sure you aren't healed, understand? And for those who are curious, healed refers to being armed, usually with a gun, like packing heat would refer to later on. The earliest usage was around 1866. Learning! What? No one did this to me last night. What's the big idea? Would you shut up? I'm not here to ask any questions. Before I had a chance to protest further, he grabs me and starts patting my pockets, roughly feeling around. Sorry, buddy, I'm gonna be taking this for tonight. The man pulls the piece I'd been carrying as insurance, just in case things went south. Well, now I feel even more defenseless, kid. Great. Just don't pull any dumb moves, and you'll be fine. We like to keep things real cordial around here. Got it? Yeah, I got it. Good. Then we'll be heading to the back room. Whatever you... Wait, the back room? Wait, where are you taking me? Wait! The man suddenly grabs my wrist, pulling me along the speak's perimeter. My heart starts to pound in my chest. What am I getting dragged into? I told the officers not to get close to the place unless I was gone for a while, but who knows what'll happen in the meantime. My semi-captor takes me to the back of the parlor, down a long, dark corridor. Not gonna lie, when that sound effect started, I thought it was something else entirely. The music and laughter fade slowly into the distance, replaced by only the sound of our footsteps. Finally, we reach a large black door, and the man knocks firmly on it several times. Come in. The door opens into a warmly lit, spacious parlor. Not exactly the scary dark room I'd been expecting. And there, in the middle of the lush couch, sits a familiar tall man. Mr. Eastman, your friend's here. Yes, I can see that. Thank you for bringing him in. Make sure no one intrudes on us if you'd be so kind. Yes, sir. With a polite nod, the other man departs, closing the door behind him with a soft click. Once he's gone, Mayor and I stare at each other for a few seconds in silence. I can only think that this dramatic reintroduction was deliberate. He knows I can read the subtext. Well, I brought your cake. I lift the bag in my hand and shake it a little, laughing nervously. I knew I could count on you. A pleased smile slowly spreads over his lips, and the sight makes me relax a little. He pats the couch beside him, and I don't exactly feel like I'm in a position to refuse. I approach and tentatively lower myself down, sinking into the soft cushions. Why, you're stiff as a sheet of glass. What's wrong, Jack? Your secretary back there wasn't exactly the most gentle of fellows. I apologize. They're used to dealing with coarser individuals than yourself, you see, and I forgot to tell them to use kid gloves. Kid gloves is to use kid gloves with something or someone means to treat it delicately or carefully. The term refers to gloves made from kid leather, the skin of a young goat, which is extraordinarily soft and smooth. Learning. Also, that's awful. That's awful. It's not that I wasn't quite expecting all of this. All of this? You mean a nice back room and a speakeasy? Mayor gives me a faux innocent look. Right, that's obviously what I was referring to. Anyway, here, your prize. I hope it didn't get too smushed when your lackey was jostling me around. I offer Mayor the bag with the cake, and his eyes light up when he takes it from my hands. Wonderful! I can smell it already. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try. A Yiddish phrase that translates as, "It is hard to eat a stranger's bread," purportedly used by Jews in St. Louis, Missouri as of 1920. Huh? My rabbi used to say, but I like to pretend it doesn't apply to cakes. He gazes lovingly at the bag for a moment, then sets it to one side. A smile finds its way onto my lips before I even realize it. The way he likes sweets so much really reminds me of Leslie. Don't think of the other man while you're here. Oh, before I forget, I have something for you, Jack. Mayor leans around the edge of the sofa, grunting softly before straightening back up with a bottle in hand. It's full of a golden liquid, but I don't recognize the label. You wanted something a little sweeter, right? You remembered? I have an excellent memory, especially when it comes to people who catch my interest. He takes a glass from the table beside him and starts to pour me a drink, humming softly. I notice that he's already got a half-empty cup of coffee for himself, black as the night. This is Slivovitz. I'm gonna stumble over that word every time. Sweetened with honey. I've never sampled it myself, but one of my men swears by it. I prefer to take my sweets in something of a different fashion, though. Mayor hands me the glass, letting his fingers brush against mine for a moment. Longer than necessary. Sorry for that pause. That was awkward. Thanks. You're quite the host. You expected anything less? He turns a little bit on the sofa, propping one elbow against the back so he can gaze at me head-on. Feeling slightly embarrassed under his stare, I take a curious sip of the drink. Damn, it goes down so easy. Good enough that I can see why you're not serving it out there. A man has to make a living, unfortunately. Buying and transporting high-quality goods is expensive, not to mention risky. I'd much prefer to serve good liquor over the common swill, but it's not quite feasible yet. He pauses for a thoughtful moment, though his eyes flick back to my face soon after. Well, about that information I owe you, assuming you're still interested in work.